Hey guys, Tony DeNaro here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about BBIG and the Tyde spinoff and what happens to options when a spinoff happens. I know some people were caught by surprise today that the options chain was turned off. Rest assured, this is not manipulation. This is what happens many times when corporate events occur. There are different things that can happen to the options chain when a split or a reverse split happens, a merger, a spinoff, a cash dividend, or a stock dividend. And I'm going to give you some resources to go get educated on that. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in all of these, but I can, I think, at least explain it to you enough so that you understand what's going to happen, what you should do with any existing options that you have, and point you in the right direction to get informed so that you know what to expect next time you're involved in one of these situations. If you happen to be an investor in GameStop holding options, this is also going to be key information for you to understand because the same thing is going to happen to GameStop when the day comes that they issue a stock dividend. The existing options chain for GameStop will be turned off and a new ticker symbol for those options will be created, which accounts for the new stock dividend. I do expect that tomorrow, Friday, July 1st, there should be a new options chain posted for BBIG now that the Tyde component has been removed from the stock. But let's talk about how they deal with the existing options chain, because remember, in the beginning, BBIG was one company and Tyde was part of it, and then we split that company off. So some of the value of the company got removed. And coincidentally, this was also my concern for holding BBIG past May 18th. It is very common when a spinoff occurs that the price of a stock like BBIG would drop as the component gets spun off or Tyde gets removed out. As the original company stands, BBIG plus Tyde, the price of BBIG included both. When the spinoff happens and Tyde becomes its standalone component, the value of that portion of the company is now separated from BBIG, and it is normal for the price of the original parent company to drop during the spinoff. And that phenomenon is what explains this big price drop that you see in BBIG's chart from the close yesterday to opening today. I'm going to include a link to this video from the OIC, the Options Industry Council, in the video description down below so you can watch it at your leisure. If you're not a stock option or math whiz, this might be a little bit confusing, so I'm going to walk through a little bit of explanation in the next minute or so. But this video does a very good job of covering all the different corporate actions that might result in changes to the options chain, and you should at least be aware of them at a high level so that you understand what scenarios might play out in your investments and options chains that you might be holding. Okay, so now let's close out talking about the options that you might be holding from BBIG prior to the Tyde spinoff, and I'm going to reference this letter from the OCC, the Options Clearing Corp. I'll also put a link to this letter down in the video description if you want to refer to it at your leisure. What this letter says in a nutshell is that the options ticker for BBIG will be changing to BBIG1. You may see that in your portfolio if you were previously holding options for BBIG. For any new investor wanting to go pick up some new contracts on BBIG1, you will not be able to do that. This is only an options ticker that is available to pre-existing owners of BBIG options. So if you already held BBIG options, you will now see them referenced as BBIG1 in your portfolio. For each option contract that you hold, there is a new deliverable, and that will include 100 shares of BBIG and 10 shares of Tyde. Yes, existing options that you own right now for BBIG are now including 100 shares of BBIG and 10 shares of Tyde. Once the options chain for BBIG is rebooted, which hopefully should be tomorrow, and you see BBIG options out there again, they will just be BBIG. It will not be this 100 plus 10 Tyde that you see referencing BBIG1. Getting back to the payout on your existing BBIG1 options, if you have any questions, I urge you to call your broker and have a discussion with them. I'm going to provide you a little bit more understanding of how it works, and by all means, if someone sees this video and I got it wrong, feel free to drop a note down in the comments below. What it says here as far as pricing, the underlying price for BBIG1 will be determined as follows. BBIG stock price plus 10% of the price of Tyde. Let's walk through an example. Let's say that you're currently holding a call for BBIG, and you'll see that's listed as BBIG1 with a $2 strike. And let's say, for the sake of this example, that at the expiration date, the price of BBIG ends at $1.90. You might think that you're out of the money and that this is not going to pay out. However, we need to factor in the additional value of Tyde to the deliverable in BBIG1. The way that the math would work on that is you take 100 shares of BBIG times $1.90. That gives you $190 worth of value. And you take 10 shares of Tyde, or 1/10 the price of Tyde, times the current price of Tyde, and I just picked $2 for this example. So that would add $20 to the value of your BBIG1 call, giving you a total value for the deliverable of $210. So in essence, even though BBIG might show that it is out of the money with a $2 strike, with that added Tyde kicker on your BBIG1, you would be in the money by $10 on this call. This is a great learning opportunity for everybody, especially if you're new to options or didn't know that these sort of scenarios existed. I urge you to go watch the video that I linked down below in the video description from the OIC and become familiar with all of the different corporate actions that can result in changes or cancellations to existing options chains, because there are a bunch of them. I am Tony Denaro. I want to thank you for watching. Please hit that like button if you got value out of today's video. And if you're new here, please don't forget to buy and hold that subscribe button. I do my best here to provide you non-clickbait, non-hype, solid, well thought out due diligence. Thanks again for your time, and I will see you on the next video.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty.